Hello, welcome back to Haunted Pages. Today, our topic of discussion is Maria Edgeworth's Belinda. Join me as I discuss my feelings and my thoughts about this wonderful and marvelous book. When we hide our hurts. Sometimes the saddest stories aren't the ones where people stop loving each other. Sometimes they're the ones where people still love each other, but stop talking to each other. That's what stayed with me after finishing Belinda. It's a novel filled with wit and humor, but beneath all of that is a surprisingly tender story about loneliness, friendship, and the courage it takes to finally let someone know you're hurting. When I closed Belinda, I realized that this story had affected me more than I expected. In many ways, it feels like a light-hearted society novel. There are clever conversations, entertaining characters, and moments that made me smile. But underneath all of that is a quiet sadness. Lady Delacour and Lord Delacour obviously love one another, yet their relationship has become so fractured that they hardly know how to reach each other anymore. Lady Delacour carries the burden of her illness almost completely alone. She isolates herself from the very people who love her. And yet into that loneliness walks Belinda. What moved me the most was Belinda's willingness to stay. Her innocence isn't weakness, it's kindness. She chooses friendship when it would have been much easier to just walk away. One of the things I enjoyed most about this novel is the world Maria Edgeworth creates. On the surface, everything feels lively and entertaining. Parties, society, fashion, conversation. But beneath that elegant world is something much more serious. There is a quiet sense of foreboding because of Lady Delacour's illness. And almost every major character is struggling with loneliness in some form. What stood out to me most was the contrast between belonging and isolation. Lady Delacour isolates herself because she is afraid. Lord Delacour wants to belong with his wife, but no longer knows how to reach her. Belinda longs to belong, but often finds herself standing on the outside. It's interesting that so many people in this novel want connection, yet fear keeps them apart. The character who stayed with me most was Lady Delacour. She is wonderfully complicated. She has flaws. She makes mistakes. Sometimes big mistakes. She probably should have talked to her husband much, much sooner. But honestly, don't many of us struggle with communication? Sometimes we fail miserably at saying the things that matter most. That's what makes Lady Delacour feel so real. Beneath all of her confidence, humor, and wit is someone carrying tremendous fear. And despite everything, she has a generous heart. She becomes a wonderful friend to Belinda, while Belinda quietly becomes the friend she desperately needs. I also loved Belinda. What struck me most was her quiet strength. One scene that genuinely hurt my heart was when Clarence spoke such cruel things about her because he believed he was speaking to Lady Delacour. Just imagining how deeply those words hurt made that scene so difficult to read. Yet Belinda doesn't become bitter. She remains gracious. She allows Clarence to come to his own understanding. That takes remarkable strength. At its heart, I think Belinda asks a very simple but very important question. Are we willing to be honest with the people who love us? Sometimes we stay silent because we believe we're protecting the people around us. But often that silence creates the very loneliness we're trying to avoid. The people we choose to spend our lives with deserve to know when we're hurting. They deserve the truth. And maybe one of the greatest acts of trust is allowing someone else to help carry our burdens. What Belinda quietly taught me is that communication isn't simply helpful, it's essential. We have to tell people what we're feeling, not only our husbands or wives, not only our closest friends, but the people who genuinely love us. They cannot read our minds, even when we sometimes wish they could. This novel reminded me that relationships grow stronger through honesty and silence, even when it begins with good intentions, can slowly build walls between people. I also couldn't stop thinking about Clarence. He fought against loving Belinda for so long, but eventually he saw her for who she truly was, her grace, her kindness, her strength. Sometimes love begins when we finally see another person clearly. And I think that's why Belinda still matters today. It reminds us that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes courage is simply telling the people who love us, I'm hurting, and trusting them enough to stay. Each story leaves a trace, sometimes as warning, sometimes as invitation.